You know, it feels great. Um, it feels great to be reprising the role. When I finished my run on Broadway, I just thought that's the hardest I've ever worked, and I'm glad to be done. And then, you know what? I missed it. So when this opportunity came along, I was like, well, I would be happy to put the sequins back on and get to come down to Australia, a country that I love, and spend a little time and bring my family and have a little adventure. As we were putting the show together and sort of workshopping it and trying to get the idea together of what the show was going to be, and then get the green light from Neil, we had that moment where we had a script, we had his songs, and we had sort of a story, and it was time to show it to Neil. And so we had a group of maybe 10 actors, and I think Neil and Katie, his wife, and maybe his manager all got in a little room, and Neil was sitting about 10 feet away from me, and there I was, you know, with a guitar, emulating Neil's sound and pretending to be him in front of him, and it was the most surreal experience that I've ever had in my life. I don't remember a lot of it. I think I just blanked out, but we somehow made it through, and it went well enough that he gave us the go ahead to make the musical. Growing up, Neil Diamond was just a centerpiece in my house. He's my dad's favorite singer of all time. We literally had a poster of Neil Diamond in our garage. So his songs were just in my DNA growing up. In fact, when I was developing the show, I didn't tell my dad for the longest time that I was involved, because if it fell apart, it would have broken his heart. So I waited until the last possible minute to tell him, all right, this is happening. It's a go. And I'm going to play Neil Diamond on Broadway, which made my dad's dreams come true. I actually got to introduce my dad to Neil on opening night on Broadway, which was amazing. Um, and it's just been a thrill and an honor to get to play him, in this great production and get to know him a little bit. Seems bizarre and crazy still to this day that I know Neil Diamond. Um, and it's just a ball. It's a ball. It's an amazing show to be a part of. The songs are tremendous. We all know his song. Being a part of being able to tell his life story is also great, because a lot of people don't know who he is and sort of where he came from, and his, his challenges and his origins are interesting and deep, and it's a night of not just great music. It's also a moving story about someone kind of overcoming and coming to terms with the future, and how Neil can't perform any longer, and the show kind of grapples with that, and a lot of great life questions, and it's a really satisfying night. If I had to pick a favorite Neil Diamond song, it kind of changes night to night with the show. I mean, but one that is often a favorite is Brother Love's Traveling Salvation Show. It's this great gospel number, and it opens the second act, and finally Neil's kind of come into his power, and it's the whole band is finally on stage, and they're just like huge on the stage, and he's wearing his, sparkles, and there's just this amazing backup group of dancers and singers, and it's kind of Neil at his prime, and the song is so great. If I had to pick a favorite moment in the show, I mean, the show's structured in an interesting way. It starts with an older version of Neil, like a modern day Neil Diamond in therapy. It's framed. The whole show is framed with him sort of looking back on his life. So as the modern day older Neil is reflecting on his life, it flashes back to me as the younger Neil, kind of going through it all and performing. And though the characters, the two Neils, are on stage at the same time, the whole show, and sort of almost touching and almost making eye contact, they just don't, because Neil really hasn't kind of made the epiphany that he makes over the overarching evening of theater until the very end, when he kind of has that breakthrough of him being enough and understanding that if he can't perform anymore, he's still enough. I get emotional talking about it. It's funny. I haven't talked about it for a long time. But finally, the two Neils look at each other, and it's powerful, and it's moving to me every night. Sorry. I think when audiences come to see the show, they will be anticipating a great night of music. We all know and love Neil Diamond's music, and they get that in spades. But I think the way that the creators of the show have framed it allow for a deeper introspection, and revealing Neil's challenges of throughout his life. And I think they will walk away having kind of undergone the catharsis that Neil goes through, and went through in his life, and they'll have a much more emotionally fulfilling night of theater than they expect. I think they come for a concert and they go home with an emotionally fulfilled night at the theater. I think one of the beautiful things about the show for me is the questions that it asks. But the big one for me is like, are we enough when we are no longer allowed to be that thing we sort of that is our piece of identity. And Neil, being a singer, because he has Parkinson's, can no longer perform. And so he keeps asking this question: Am I still enough? Am I still valuable? And I think that's something that every person goes through. It's like, I am this, and if you were to take that away, are you still enough? Are you still valuable? It's a deep question, and a good one as an actor to get to address every night. This role was definitely a tricky one in that I'm playing a real person who exists still, and because of that, everyone knows his mannerisms, his sound, and every lyric to every song. So if you do an original musical, nobody knows what songs they're going to hear, and so they're experiencing it for the first time. But when you're singing Neil Diamond songs, there's a certain checklist where they're like, yeah, I know that song, I know that song, I know all these lyrics. When we were developing it, we weren't sure how much they were going to sing along. So we had a learning curve of like, all right, well, it's Sweet Caroline. We know they're going to sing along here. So you kind of have to shape the show in a way that allows for that. And so it's been a unique artistic process, allowing the audience to be a part of it in the way that they came to be. Um, but it's also great because the fact that everyone loves Neil's songs so much helps in that we often don't really have to win the audience over. I mean, it's a weird thing, but I come out for the first number of the whole show, and the crowd is thrilled to see me. As an actor, it's like, I didn't earn this yet. I know you're clapping for Neil, and I will happily receive this applause. But it's an interesting thing because the audience already loves Neil, and so we just get to tell his story with them already on our side. It's the best thing in the world. I mean, as a performer, you're just like your mission of the night is to get the audience on your side, and so for them to already love Neil as much as they do when you hear them singing along, I think in some shows that might be a distraction, but for us, it just is like, all right, they're with us. Let's just ride this wave and have a good night.